Hey everybody, welcome to Home with the Halsteads. And I know you're saying, that's not Home with the Halsteads. She doesn't have on her Home with the Halsteads apron. Well, today I decided that I would wear something red and something white because I'm going to be showing you how to make a Valentine's treat. And of course, you know, a lot of red, a lot of pink, and a lot of white is used and is so typical of Valentine's Day. It's such a special day and it's coming up really soon, and I'm going to be showing you 2 or 3 little things that I do around Valentine's Day that I do at home and that I don't have to go out and buy candy. So today what we're going to do, we're going to dip some of these pretzel rods in chocolate and we're going to decorate them. Now you can do this yourself or you can do it with your children, your grandchildren. I know I've done it with my grandchildren before and it's lots of fun. I would just say be really careful because you're going to have to melt your chocolate that you're going to be dipping in, and you don't want anyone to get burned. So let's talk about the ingredients that we're going to be using and then we'll make it together. First of all, we are starting out with pretzel rods, and these come in, they're probably about 6-7 inches long. And I'm using the Snyder ones today. You can use any brand that you want to. Now all of these aren't going to be perfectly straight, but that's okay. They'll just give variety and they'll look pretty when we get them done. I'm also using almond bark. That's what I'm going to be using to dip our pretzel rods in today. You can use any kind of melting chocolate. The chocolate melts are really good. You can use dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or white chocolate. So whatever your preference is. But today I'm using the almond bark. And let me just go ahead and tell you before we get started making it that there are lots of good tips on the back of packages. So always make sure that when you purchase your items that you look on the back and you look at the directions and you look at the tips. And one of the tips that it says about this is that in the chocolate you don't add milk or water or butter or a liquid oil, but if your chocolate gets too hard, then you can add a little bit of Crisco solid shortening. So that's a really good tip and that's really important. We're also going to be using some sprinkles. Now I have here just some regular sprinkles like you would use on cookies or maybe ice cream or on a cake. So those work really well. And then I have some sanding sugar that I found at the grocery store, and I'm going to be using that. That works really well too. But then I found some little hearts in this little container here with the regular sprinkles. And my experience with mini chocolate chips and with little sprinkles like this, they're a little bit heavier and it's hard to get them to adhere to the pretzels. But what I'm going to do with the larger sprinkles, I'm going to put just a little dab of Crisco oil. I'm going to put it on my, Crisco solid shortening. I'm going to take just a little bit of that and I'm going to just coat these little hearts that I have here, and we'll talk about that more as we go along. So that's what I'm going to do, the Crisco solid shortening, and then I think that that will help it to adhere better to the pretzel rod and the chocolate. So all we need to make this, we need a bowl, and I'm going to work in small increments today. I'm going to be using this bowl to melt my chocolate. I'm going to melt it in the microwave, and then I'll use a spatula and I'm going to melt it in, I'll start with 60 seconds and then I'll go to 30 seconds and I'll check it and stir it, and you might have to drop down to 15 or 10 seconds. You don't want to burn your chocolate. And then once it gets melted, then I'm going to pour it in a tumbler that I have. This is a 20-ounce tumbler. It has a handle on it that makes it easy for me to hold and for me to dip my pretzel in. So that's what I'm using today. I have used a mason jar, just a straight-sided mason jar. I've actually used a bowl and just kind of turned it over and put my pretzel rod in there. So you could use a glass, but any kind of little cylinder type container that you have, so that when you dip your pretzel down in there, it'll be easy to work with. But I am using a tumbler, and this is a hot and a cold tumbler. So let's see how that works, and let's get started. And I'm going to go ahead and melt our almond bark, and then we'll come back and we'll put the we'll make the pretzel rods, the chocolate covered pretzel rods. Okay, I have melted our almond bark and I have poured it into this 20-ounce tumbler. And again, I'm using one that has a handle, which is going to work great for me, I think. So now I'm going to take a pretzel, and I have a little plate here that I'm going to be working over because this will drip. Don't think that it won't drip, because it will. So I'm just going to roll it around in the almond bark. And when I say almond bark, I'm really saying, I'm thinking chocolate. And you know, chocolate comes in white chocolate and dark chocolate. But I'm using almond bark. And this has cooled a little bit so that I can work with it. So now I'm going to hold it over this plate, and I'm going to start with some of the sanding sugar. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on, and you'll see that it's going to fall on this plate, which is fine. And you just sprinkle it, and I may have to take this glove off to be able to use my hands and do a good job. So there you go. So now it's ready. See, it's dripping a little bit, which that's normal and that's natural. So now I'm going to place it on the cookie sheet that is lined with parchment paper. So I'm going to pull this glove off on this hand so that I can work with it better. So now I'm just going to dip another one. Let it drip as much as possible. Hold it up like that. Let it drip. Shake it a little bit. And then twist it. And then I'm going to use just the regular sprinkles, like you would use on ice cream or birthday cake or cookies. And so next, I'm going to just place it on my cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. And then let's try one with the hearts. And I tell you that they are hard to adhere, and also chocolate chips are hard to adhere. So you'll just want to put a little bit of the solid Crisco shortening on your chocolate chips or on your little hearts or whatever you might use. And I don't know why they don't adhere well, if it's just the ingredients that it's made of, or if it's that it has more weight. So let's try this. Just gonna drop some on like that. Some will fall off, and that's okay. And they're adhering pretty well. Let's put a red one right there. And then maybe one or two right here. Okay. And see that they're falling off, but I'm going to put it over here on the cookie sheet. Just like that. So I'm going to work to finish this project, and I'll be back when I get finished. Okay, we're all done with our project. Our dipped pretzel rods, and they're covered with sprinkles. And again, I used the almond bark. And I wanted to come back and show you our finished product. I've placed it on this little tray that I have, and I wanted you to see a close-up because I realized when I was actually sprinkling that I had my hand in front of the camera, but I think you get the idea and could tell what I was doing. So anyway, I hope that you'll try these real soon. Okay, friends, that's it for today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next day or two with another good Valentine's recipe that you can make at home and share with your family. I'll see you soon.